Hey, what's up guys? This is Spencer and Cody. I'm the Director of Content for Pacers Gaming. He's the Director of eSports Operations and also the coach.
I am.
Right?
You got me.
So today we're going to talk about the Combine archetypes. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into them. Cody's going to give a lot of his sort of advice, what we've seen out there. We posted on Twitter asking you guys what you're playing. And you might even have responded to our last video as well, potentially. Yep. But let's go ahead and start with the point guard archetypes. So just as a refresher, point guard position, you're 6'4", 195 in the Combine. The archetypes are sharpshooting defender, playmaking sharpshooter, sharpshooting playmaker, playmaking shot creator, and a pure sharpshooter. So do you want to start with kind of our Twitter results and scan and sort of see, we're going to look at, I think, what was the number of responses on Twitter for point guard specifically?
Let's see, we had 39 responses.
39.
Yep.
So we had 39 comments of what you guys are playing archetype-wise at the point guard position. What do you think we're seeing a lot of here? Yeah,
I've seen quite a few sharpshooting playmakers, and the other way too, playmaking sharpshooters. So I think just like in season 1, we saw a lot of play sharps. I think we'll see that again in the Combine. First, there were only, I think I might have only seen one out of 39 who said sharpshooting defender. So because there's so many other defensive builds at the 2 and the 3, you probably won't see very many sharpshooting defenders.
You need something more out of your point guard than that defense.
I think so. And there were some playmaking shot creators too, but definitely the overwhelming majority were play sharps or sharp plays for sure.
And do you think those two archetypes run a similar play style?
They do. The sharpshooting primary will have a better three-point shooting, obviously, but they're very similar. You can play make and you can shoot, as defined in the name. But yeah, I think those are probably, in my opinion, the best overall archetypes at the point guard position. And I think in the Combine, it's really important to choose archetypes that allow you to do multiple things because, as we've told you guys, the league and 2K are analyzing a variety of variables for the Combine. So you want to make sure you can shoot well, make sure you can pass well at the point guard, make sure you can play defense, you're quick laterally. So I would say play sharps, sharp plays, and the playmaking shot creator. In my opinion, I'd play one of those 3. I probably would stay away from a pure sharp at the 1. Yeah.
So at shooting guard, you are, by position here, you're 6'6", 210 pounds. The archetypes available are lockdown defender, sharpshooting defender, pure sharpshooter, sharpshooting shot creator, and sharpshooting playmaker. So on Twitter, as far as number of responses, this was actually the highest responded to.
Surprisingly.
The shooting guard position.
Yep.
So we had 52 responses, maybe even more, but over 50 responses here.
Yep.
And what are we seeing a lot of at the 2?
Immediately, I see the first 5 responses are pure sharp. So a lot of pure sharps. Second, I think when I scrolled through was the sharp shot, I believe. A couple lockdowns at the 2, which we had talked about before recording this video. You might see some people using that lockdown defender.
When I scanned through, I saw a lot of locks at the 2.
Yep.
That's what I was asking Cody, is how much have we seen that so far in the game? Because I know lock at maybe the 3 we see a lot.
Yep.
But at the 2, I don't know if we've seen it as much.
You know, it's interesting because if you play the lock at the 2, you can affect the badges of the point guard because they're one position away. Now, when you're at the 3, because they're 2 positions away and not in the height limitations, you don't affect the badges of the point guard. So that's why you could see a lock trying to guard the 1, but it's going to be interesting in the Combine because if you don't have communication, usually it's going to be point guard defending point guard, shooting guard defending shooting guard. So I don't know if I would play a lock in the Combine. Now in the league build, you might see the lock played at a 2 quite a bit. I don't know.
And one thing to note, and we'll maybe touch on this again at the end of the video, these Combine archetypes are not necessarily league archetypes.
That is correct.
They are Combine archetypes.
That is correct.
They could all be the same, they may change.
Right.
We don't know that, but that's something the league might actually decide.
And there could be more, which we would love from a strategic standpoint. If I had the opportunity to choose from 10 archetypes per position, man, that would be a blast, game planning and strategizing. So, but we'll see. Yeah, shooting guard's going to be interesting. Again, the most popular position, at least on Twitter, from responses for us. So I don't know. If you're thinking about trying out as a shooting guard, you might look at a couple other positions to have a higher chance of making the draft pool.
Right. That's exactly right, because just based on our little small survey here, we see a lot of interest in shooting guard, which means there's a lot of competition at shooting guard.
For sure.
Next up, small forward. So at small forward, you're going to be 6'8", 230 pounds. The archetypes available are lockdown defender, two-way point forward, two-way shot creator, two-way sharpshooter, or sharpshooting defender. What do we see here? We got about 38 responses, which is average, I'd say, for all positions.
Right in the middle.
Are we seeing two ways? Are we seeing defenders? What do you think we're seeing?
This one is definitely.
Is it a mix?
It's a mix. It's the highest variety out of any of the positions. I think people are still trying to learn what's best at the 3 in Pro-Am right now. So it's the same in the Combine. We're not sure exactly what's going to be played at the 3. Last year, depending on the team in the league build, it was 100% either pure sharp. You saw a couple shot sharps, or it was the slashing shot creator that ran that 5-out offense. So clearly the league is trying to go away from 5-out just by looking at these archetypes. None of these will dominate the game like the shot slash did last year. So a lot of defensive archetypes here. In fact, every single one has a defensive archetype in it. So I think it'll be pretty spread out. I did talk to Wolf, some insider information here. That two-way point forward, man, that might be interesting. You could have some speed, maybe be able to shoot a little bit, dish a little bit. So there's a few interesting ones there. It depends if you want to shoot more, drive more. The 3's up for debate, in my opinion.
In my limited time playing the game, and I'm playing it as a power forward.
Yep.
I've always had trouble just in sort of our community sometimes with getting that point guard.
Yep.
And that two-way point forward was doing some of the ball handling. Now, this is in rec. Like, we're not talking elite level competition here.
Sure.
But it was possible.
Yeah.
So
definitely possible. Gives you an extra ball handler. It'll be really interesting to see what you guys choose to run at the 3. I'm interested, so make sure you leave a comment below and let us know what you're going to play at the 3.
Moving on, we got the power forward position. This was the lowest responded to position. Power forward's going to be 6'11", 240 pounds. Our archetypes available are going to be sharpshooting post scorer, sharpshooting athletic finisher, rebounding stretch 4, two-way stretch 4, and the shot creating post scorer. So once again, we had talked about the shooting guard being one of potentially, in our little survey, most competitive positions as far as combine play. Power forward, a lot lower in number of responses.
Yeah.
But of those, what are we seeing maybe that might stand out as far as what guys are playing?
Yeah, it looks like quite a few two-way stretches. Let's see, a couple sharpshooting post scorers. The sharp athletic too. So again, this is another one of those positions that I think a variety of archetypes could work for you. Again, I highly recommend choosing an archetype that allows you to play at a high level on both ends of the floor. Almost every one of these do, so it's really up to personal preference at the 4 again. But I would say it could get mashy down low in the combine, so having some shooting at the 4 could really help you spread the floor a little bit in case your center clogs the paint at the 5. So I would recommend having some shooting in your build. And also, like Spencer said, really consider the fact that this is probably going to be the least utilized archetype, or position in the combine. So if you're looking for the highest percentage chance to get into the draft pool, this is it. This is the position to play for sure, in my opinion.
Potentially. In our small survey.
Right. And it was last year, too.
Okay.
I want to say when people were waiting in the matchmaking queue, it always seemed like power forward was that last position that was match made. So I want to say that's the spot where you could sneak in, even if you're not, a primary power forward.
Well, it's kind of like if you're on the fence between maybe center and power forward, potentially even small forward and power forward, especially, if you're going for like more of a shooting archetype, that might be similar to that small forward position.
For sure.
And then I would say that, that's when I look at these archetypes, sharpshooting, stretch, they're trending toward essentially having someone that can stretch the floor, not necessarily mash down low.
Right, definitely. And to add to it, a little hot take for you guys, I know Ramo qualified as a 4 last year. Dayfry qualified at a 4 last year. Believe it or not, I want to say Goofy qualified at the 4 last year. So those 3 guys played a lot of center last year. So even though you qualify as a power forward, I think myself and other GMs and coaches understand you could play the 4, you could play the 5, maybe even other positions too.
Last up, we got the center build. This build is 7'1", 260 pounds. We got glass cleaner, pure rim protector, two-way post scorer, sharpshooting rebounder, and slashing post scorer as the archetypes for the center build. How was our responses on this one? Maybe just a tick above average.
Yes.
So this would be number 2 as far as most responded to.
Yep.
Just a little over 40 responses.
For sure.
And then what are we seeing as far as? I'm assuming just off the top of my head, I bet you we see glass cleaner in there.
You got it. Yep.
Yeah.
I would say glass cleaner is the consensus number 1 archetype chosen. Can you guess what number 2 would be?
Guessing number 2. Man, I don't actually know. I know last year Pure Rim for a little bit was up there. Is it Pure Rim?
Got it. It's a Pure Rim for sure.
I know what I'm talking about.
He does. You got it. Yeah, I think those 2 will be the overwhelming choices this year in the combine. The glass cleaner and Pro-Am's been dominating since day 1. We saw Goofy pull out the Pure Rim and Pro-Am in 2K19 early on, and that trend has really caught on throughout the community. So I think those are the 2 I would choose from. As you guys know, you can't mash or dead zone as much as you could in 2K18. So the center position's going to be a lot about positioning on rebounding on the offensive end and finding the open man on the kick out. And then on defense, it's just about getting stops, getting boards, getting your teammates in the right position to run and push the floor.
So center, power forward, going to have to play smarter this year.
You really are. You really are. And I think people are worried about crowding and mashing, but because there are so many shooters in the first 3, or at least in point guard and shooting guard, I think you might be surprised on how much the floor will be spread. Hopefully, don't hold me to it, but I would like to see spacing. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
So, like in our previous videos as well, if you guys are playing one of these positions, if you made it into the combine, let us know what you're playing. If you're going with some of these trends that we have through our Twitter posts, or if you're going to go outside the box a little bit.
Let us know.
And pick something else.
Yeah.
Let us know for sure. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Baby,